Textual Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
AB Supply, this is Terry.
It's me.
Hey, how's it going?
I was on the phone with a client who was reading me the riot act about something being manufactured wrong. Turns out there was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. The only thing I can think about talking about is that this woman called yesterday and was looking for a lever set that had a deadbolt function. I've never heard of what a deadbolt function is, only because I believe the deadbolt to be something completely different than a lever set.
Well, the only thing I would add to that possibly is, just thinking out loud, is there are what are called interconnected locks. That used to be the Schlage. I think they were the K series by Schlage. And other people make interconnected. So what that is on the outside of the door, it looks like a lock and a deadbolt. On the inside, there is an escutcheon. In the Schlage's S200 series, we sell those to that customer that is at Ogden and it's a residential building, Ogden and Grand, right near that intersection. I forget their name. Bernard is his name. He orders them. But Schlage still makes an interconnected lock. And I think they were the K locks once upon a time. Falcon makes them, Yale makes them. So when the client says a deadbolt function, what it could mean is that the interconnected lock on the inside, when you rotate the knob or the lever, if the deadbolt is thrown, it's going to retract not only the latch, but the deadbolt as well, allowing you to remove it.
That's what my front door does.
Yeah, but your front door is a mortise lock, not an interconnected lock. A mortise lock with emergency egress will always function that way. But I'm thinking when the client says deadbolt function, I'm thinking an interconnected lock, which would be definitely cylindrical and tubular based. The lock would be cylindrical, possibly tubular. I don't recall. I think it's tubular. I think the construction would be correctly called tubular. But that's what I'm thinking the client wants or is trying to describe. What else did the client say about that?
That was it. She told me her architect told her to call around and find this specific lock. That was all the information that she was given.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probed deeper. I would have asked for what the operational description was to be on the opening. What do you want to have happen? How do you get in and how do you get out? And then from that point, I would have taken that operational description and then distilled that down into, well, what function of lock does that? Is it interconnected or is it mortise? So, entrance function mortise locks can have a deadbolt, like a Schlage 9050 is an office function. It doesn't have a deadbolt. But when you change it to a L9453, then it'll give you a deadbolt above the latch. Because the 4 in the part number refers to Schlage's L400 series mortise deadbolts. I know I've got an old Schlage G-lock here. I think it's interconnected. I don't recall, meaning in my lock collection. But I don't recall the Schlage interconnected lock. I thought it was the K-lock. I know I've got an old Schlage manual somewhere that will certainly show it. Here it is. It's in my 1981 service manual. The question is where it was. They made a G lock and an H, not the K. It was the H. Forgive me, H. The H lock by Schlage. Now, where you would use that is literally in residential housing, generally condos. They want one operation to exit. You want the convenience of a latch. You want the security of the deadbolt, but you don't have to retract the deadbolt and then rotate the lever or knob to get out. It's all one operation, interconnected lock. The center to center is always specific to the manufacturer. It's generally about 4-inch, maybe 3 5/8, maybe 4.5. I don't recall. But they're really handy. The problem with today's interconnected locks is that they're so expensive. what used to cost a couple $100 is now $600-700 now. So maybe that's what the client meant. But if anyone's interested in looking up the H series, go to the Schlage manufacturer's page in our site. Look for the Schlage Service Manual 1981. It's literally shown like right in the beginning of the catalog and then in the index. The K lock was their old mortise lock. The K was the predecessor to the L lock. That's correct. All right, man. So was there anything else about that?
No, that was about it. I mean, what would you call my lock in my front door? I mean, to get in, all you have to do is rotate the key. The outside lever doesn't move at all.
Are there stop works in the edge of your lock? Are there buttons or a toggle switch?
Yeah, there's a slam lock.
Well, hold on. So if in the armor front is going to have a latch, it's probably going to have a dead latch. That'll be the second hole in the armor front. It'll have a deadbolt. That's the third hole in the armor front, the 8-inch by 1.25-inch plate. If there are two buttons that you can push, one goes in, the other goes out, and one goes out and the other goes in, or it's a flip toggle, those called stop works.
Yeah,
stop
it looks
works,
like more of like a light switch.
Yeah,
you know?
Okay, so that makes sense. So if you were to go home today and hit that light switch in the edge of your lock, you should see that the outside trim is now unlocked. The point of that is...
That's exactly how it works.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, that's like if you're carrying groceries in and out. You want to just temporarily unlock it. But as soon as you throw the deadbolt on the inside, the thumb turn, it will change the condition or position of the stopworks, rendering the exterior lever or knob fixed. It no longer works. So just throwing the deadbolt on the inside locks the outside down completely. So that would be like an entrance function. And what you want to do with that is you just want to look in a Schlage catalog or Sargent or anyone and look for a mortise lock that has all those things in the edge. You know, has all the stopworks, has all the parts in the edge that you're looking for. And that's how you would know what it does, is just what I'm trying to say. The K lock, the predecessor to the L lock, certainly would have had stopworks in the edge as well. And that's just how you put it into a passage mode.
Right, and then to get out, even if the deadbolt is thrown.
Yeah, that's called emergency egress. If you look in the Baldwin catalog, they call them emergency egress, meaning you can get, not all mortise locks are like that. Some mortise locks, you've got to retract the deadbolt and then rotate the inside trim. But some you can just hit the lever or knob and completely get out. Those are the ones I like to sell customers, but if you're dealing with a guy with a 100-year-old lock, it wasn't operating that way most likely.
Right, yeah, and I am certain that it's a Sargent lock on my door at least.
Oh, I know it is. I recall that it is.
Yeah. So is there one that you recommend between just being able to turn the deadbolt and just push open the door, or is it better to turn the deadbolt and then have to rotate the lever?
Well, I think you've got to think about what suits the requirements of the owner. So, in my opinion, if the owner has a toddler at home, a 1-2-year-old, I would definitely not want the kid to get the door open with one operation. It's going to take special knowledge, and not just a 2-year-old reaching up with their hand on the lever and pulling down. That'll get the door open. Rotating the deadbolt is a knowing act, meaning you're doing something knowingly and intentionally. That emergency egress is not a knowing act. It can happen automatically by unintentionally rotating the trim. Flip that around, the client might say, listen, in an emergency, I want to be able to get out with one operation. And code can definitely dictate, in NFPA 101, it can definitely dictate how many operations you're limited to in certain occupancy types. Meaning, if you've got an apartment in certain jurisdictions, you can't put 3 deadbolts on there because now it takes 4 things just to get out. And that would be a violation of code. So it also has everything to do with what the code says. If it was me personally, adult use, I would go with emergency egress. But if I had a toddler, I would definitely not want that. Or if I had that, I would put additional hardware on the door to prevent that from happening, like a cheap slide bolt. If you recall, at the Novak's house, we installed a 2-inch slide bolt at the top of the doors going down into their basement when their children were literally babies, because it's about a good 10 steps down to a concrete pad. So if one of the kids just pulled that door open and then whoopsie, they're going down. They're taking a header off those stairs. So it really, convenience, security, it's the classic locksmith argument. Which one, what balance between those do you want? But modern times, emergency egress. And I've said this to a lot of people, it has everything to do with how you were raised, meaning what were the locks like in your house when you grew up as a kid, because that'll be your programmed behavior. That'll be what you expect to have happen. So I try to tell people, just mimic what your muscle memory is going to tell you to do, and then just go from there.
Yeah, I totally understand. I understand where you're coming from.
Okay, I will talk to you later.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.